I linked a zone archive that I have of as many tournaments as I have back to
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I have that over on one of my monitors. Will this stay up? Somewhat.
What?
There. Let's keep this one over on that. All right. It's a pretty sick background you got there, Jason. All right. It looks like it's coming through. Everybody talk real quick so I can check the audio on a stream.
Yeah, you guys are all good.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I'm just watching the delay.
I realized I can't tell who's talking in my Discord or on stream. I don't know, Jason, it's your stream. You can check the audio levels and whatnot. I figure we'll go from there.
All right, Nigel, I need you over
Double
there.
check the audio quality. I think you guys are fine. People should be able to hear you. I hear it going off from the audio section, so you guys should be good to go. Go ahead and take it away.
All right. Let me make sure I got everything up here. You guys got anything you need to do before we get going, or?
No, I got everything up in front of me.
I'm stuck in a car for 30 more minutes, so.
Nice. Excellent. Okay. All right. So this is going to be the 2019 Nationals preview show. It's going to be in Philadelphia this year. We've got with us myself, Dutton Archangel from Sterling. We've also got Nocturne. He's the tournament in and captain of Dead Reckoning from Philadelphia. We've got on your top right, that's Luke alias Skywalker from Fort Wayne. He's the, are you captain or co-captain this year?
Co-captain.
Okay. I don't know how you guys are doing it. And then bottom right, we've got Chris, I'm Not Psycho, from Baltimore, captain of Identity Crisis. So basically, we're going to run through some of the teams, talk about some of the different things we're looking at going in, some of the different storylines, previous tournament, and hopefully give you guys a good preview of what you're going to see this weekend. At the end, if we actually have any viewers, oh, Shane's here. Shane, you can ask some questions in the viewer section if you want.
Open the floor to him.
Okay, Shane. Everyone but Shane can ask questions at the end. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. You guys got anything you want to say at the outset? Anything like that? Who you are?
No,
Anything
I'm
like
here.
that?
Nope.
All right, let's roll. So I'm mostly going to throw this part, kind of the previous couple tournaments, because it's been a few tournaments since I was at one. So we've had in the past year or two, I think, 2 tournaments. There was last Nationals in Baltimore and East Point. RSD won that. Baltimore Identity Crisis came in second, and Dead Reckoning third.
No,
And
other way.
other way around?
Yep.
Yeah, this Don's bad at math.
Oh, whoa. We're starting
Okay.
early.
Excellent. Yes, this is exactly what I want in this podcast. Okay, and then the tournament before that was the last Philly Invites, which Baltimore won that. Let's see if the math is correct here.
It is.
I
It's very
promise.
correct.
Okay.
It's very correct. He was so mad. He was just upset. Mad. Look, he's getting red in the face already thinking about it.
Sunburn, thank you.
These are going to be some really good captains meetings. I'm looking forward to them.
I'm not.
So yeah, a lot of the same teams that have won the past couple tournaments, the teams that have made up finals of these, all are going to be here. What's the biggest thing you guys are looking at how either your team or some of the other teams that were in finals performed then, and how you think they might do this year at Nationals?
Who wants to start?
You're the host, Don. You take it away. Or you're the host site. Luke.
So I've been looking at teams that are coming this year, and the past couple of years we've had the same three teams more or less, with the fourth team kind of competing from the outside in. I think this year with the teams that are coming, especially with your team, Coast to Coast, and the international team, who's going to be kind of a wild. There's going to be a lot more at stake with these games and going into finals, depending on who's there. I mean, every year we have different things that go on during finals. The strategies that the people are running, no one's really set in stone, other than Baltimore liking to run a train at certain bases during certain finals games.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think it'll be good this year. I think having a higher level of competition definitely this year will be beneficial for the whole tournament.
Good. Has the previous couple of tournaments, did they have more or less teams than this one?
This is actually the most we've had since like Invites 8, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't had 10 in a while.
Yeah, I feel like this was a little bit of a bounce back year, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, last year we had teams. We had one team drop out almost at the last minute, and we had another team that could have made it about a month out. So last year was 6 teams, which was pretty rough.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard with zone, especially with us having, especially in the States, having a small community.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bigger disparity between skill levels, where I feel like if you go and look at Australia or something, you can see that there's more of a gradual spectrum between the skill gap.
Yeah, makes sense. I wanted to ask you guys, while we're kind of on that topic and thinking about it, do you guys think that us kind of holding less tournaments is going to help us out grow the scene? Maybe like if we have like one big tournament, 2 big tournaments a year, I kind of feel like we're going to be, teams will be able to have a little bit more continuity going into it. What do you think?
I'll let someone else answer.
I think 2 tournaments a year would be beneficial for the scene.
Yeah.
No more than that. I think putting nationals right dead set in the center kind of hurts. Personally, just because teams can't afford to go, in June, and then it's going to be cold by the time you can do another one where people can afford to come again.
Right.
So to space it out at least 4.5, 5 months from each other, maybe like early summer or late spring, and then like early fall or late fall,
Yeah.
those should be the peaks of when we host a tournament, I think.
Yeah, I can get beyond that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Philly has been a pinnacle every year. We've always all been going to Philly. Personally, now that I've been working with Zone, I've been trying my best to get into other sites that they own and see what we can work with. And I'm really hoping that Bailey's Crossroads will be one of those back on the map again.
That'd be
within
nice.
The next year or 2. So
it's a good location, easy to fly into, lots of tourist attractions, stuff like that.
absolutely, I love going there. Like it was, still.
Plus, it's only 30 minutes from my house, so I'm down.
I actually really enjoyed Baltimore's arena, honestly.
Same. I would love to do another tournament there.
Yeah.
I don't even like Baltimore's arena.
Listen, Shanklin, we all had a great time, and props to you on that dinner.
Cap off.
Honestly,
He broke his whole ankle.
Who did?
Cam.
Oh. I feel like that happens every couple of tournaments, though. You know what I'm saying?
We
Like,
still joke with them.
He's
There
definitely
were
gonna
holes in the
consider
ground.
inside yellow base. Or whatever base that's colored now. I don't know.
That was red.
It was
We were actually gonna reach out to you and Don and ask if you could get like a ring pop as a customized trophy for Cam at the end of the tournament. Just a ring pop. That's it. Just give him one in the ceremony.
Oh man.
And say we got a special award for Cambo, and then as he comes up for last year's nationals, this has been awarded to you, and then it's just a ring pop. I don't think he'll ever see this stream, so we don't have to worry about him knowing either.
There you go. To be fair, as much as it took for us to actually get live, I don't know if anybody's ever going to see it.
Yeah.
All right. So that pretty much hits some of the past stuff. Let's talk about some of those teams that we were talking about that were in finals and some of the changes they have going into it. So I guess let's just start off with you guys, Luke, with RSD. You guys got a couple of roster changes from last year in Baltimore. Moomin's playing with the international team, and Valid's playing with us, and you guys picked up Berserk and Mad Dog. What are you guys looking at coming in, defending your national championship? How you guys feeling?
I think we feel pretty well still. I know that a lot of the guys have, been rooting to get like Attila and Tanner, which they were both on our team in Baltimore last year, and due to financial issues or time off work issues, they just couldn't afford to go.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, but I've never played with Mad Dog, and I'm looking forward to it. I've played with Berserk before. I've always loved playing with him, so I think we still, will be one of the top contending teams in finals. So, and that's what, pretty much how we all feel.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fair shake, and especially because you're losing two quality guys, but you're also picking up two really good Philly players, especially it being in Philly too.
Yeah, and it's their home site, so
not looking forward to playing you guys. I don't know, Don, Chris, what's your guys' thoughts on RSD? What would you predict? I mean, I'd probably say they're easily a solid finals team, probably contending for first. I don't think that's mind blowing at all.
They're always contending for first.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in that fight. As long as Luke and Todd's on the team, I don't think that's ever going to change.
Yeah.
They're a pain in the ass. If I'm not down there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that having a Dog and Adam definitely with having you guys come, I would easily say that you guys could definitely fight for getting in finals, and we don't really know how the international team. It's pretty easy to say that RSD can definitely make claim to a spot.
Yeah. I think there's a healthy group of teams that have a good shot at making finals this year. I'm really curious to see how that plays out, especially with the 4 game semifinals.
I was going to say, I definitely think it's more than 3 teams have a shot this year.
Yeah.
Like, usually you can pretty much tell these 3 teams are going to be in finals. This year, it's not the case. I think there's going to be some wild card.
Yeah.
That could possibly give some of us teams a run for our money, and there may not be, but there are definitely at least 4 contending teams this year from what I've seen.
Well, yeah, and I mean, not to go off onto other teams really, but I mean, if you look, we have, like I said, the international team who's going to definitely be a wild card. Coast to Coast is playing again. Philly.
We are alive.
Better. Or business as usual has gotten better. They didn't really make any roster moves, but they kind of solidified, and a lot of their players are getting a lot better. So I mean, even Philly B can make an argument as to whether or not they can run into finals. I can say they're definitely going to be in semis.
Yeah.
So again, it's just one of those things this year, like Luke said and I said earlier, is that we have a lot more higher skill or higher tier teams available this year. So I wouldn't make any guarantees on any one team getting in. I would say that there's a group of people who are definitely contenders of getting into finals, though.
Definitely, yeah. I kind of thinking back from previous years and looking at the list of accomplishments you sent me. I feel like business as usual. That group has improved every year pretty steadily. And one of these years they're going to break through and get a finals trophy over a couple of the more traditional teams.
Last year they made it, unless I'm going crazy.
No, they did 3 years ago. They bumped us into 4th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, Invites 11. They made it. They took 3rd place. It was us, Identity Crisis, and Business as Usual.
There was another year where they bumped us out, unless it was
Invites 11.
That was when they first trophied. I think that was Invites 6 or Invites 7. It's been a long time since that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm looking at the what you sent me. I only see back to
Invites 8.
Yeah, or 9, I think. 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to go on the Zone Elite page to find the old archives.
Buzzley just posted in the chat. He said invite 7.
There we go.
Jesus, there's been that many? Oh god, we're getting old.
Oh.
Phew.
You guys have been playing longer than I have. So. I started at Invites 3, I think.
Was it? Oh god, really? Oh man, I remember Endgame. That was an experience.
Mm.
Let's see who else we talk about. Let's talk about the international team. I know, Chris, you said you're a little bit more familiar with them because you guys went over to France. You've played a little bit more internationally than the rest of us. I don't really know them at all. I guess my biggest question with them is how much is I know they're from different countries in Europe for the most part. How much is language going to be an issue for them? Are they all from the same country or at least similar countries, speak similar
Well,
language?
Moomin is Swedish,
Right.
and Xylitol is from Finland. I
Okay.
don't know about the rest of them. I'd imagine they're Swedish, but I'm not sure. I've never played the other 4 players. But Moomin's a solid player. He plays. He reminds me a lot of like an American player. So when I met
Right.
him at Worlds, I was like, "Who the hell are you? I've never even heard of you."
Taller Brad. That's who he is.
Brad, he plays like us. He's a really good player. I was surprised because before that, my whole representation of Sweden was white folks, and
Right.
Yeah.
so he's a completely different player.
Okay.
Attest to that. He was on the team with him.
Right. How was that, Luke? What was playing with him like? What sort of player is he?
He was really knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable player. He knew exactly what other players needed to be doing in the arena. So if something wasn't going right for us, he could redirect us in the right direction, just like that. So not only is he a good player, but he's also a good leader too. So that's going to be crucial for their team as an international team here. He's gonna adapt very well and very quickly to the Philly arena, and you'll notice that they may not do as good in trips or something, as they're probably going to use that as their warm up for comp for sure.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, Jason Elias from my team Invalid compared him to Daniel from San Diego to Trigger Happy, which is insanely high praise in my book. So I'm really excited to play against him. See how good he is.
It's very accurate. Yes.
Playing
That's-
against him in Elam was a pain. That's all I can say.
That's scary. Okay.
What about solos, John? What about solos?
Oh yeah, solos too. Between solos and Elam, I swear I saw him more than anyone else during. And 90% of my Elam experience was him and I trying to shoot each other's guns across the arena, and I lost that about 80% of the time. So,
All right. Nice. That should be fun.
define
Alright.
fun.
Well, I'll enjoy watching you get shot by him. Does that qualify? Let's see. Who else haven't we got to? I guess Chris, we haven't fully talked about you guys yet. So last tournament, you guys did not have Tim, right?
Yes. Well, Tim didn't. So he hasn't been here. He didn't come last tournament,
Okay.
and then he was with you guys the prior tournament.
I feel like there was an invites between that.
There was. Well, he didn't come to the invite.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The last time you played, Tim played.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, 007 Brandon's been on
Yep.
our every invites for I can't even remember how long now.
Right.
And then we have Tim back. Yep.
Nice. Is Brandon going to be able to make it out at all, or?
Oh yeah, I
kn-
Brandon's
I
not on our team this time. He's not.
Okay.
I forgot. Oh my god. Yeah, we have a random emergency alt right now
Okay.
who has 2 power plays worth of experience.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me it was Johnny.
No. So he has 2 power plays worth of experience.
Okay.
Iachi, and this is gonna be fun. Yep.
All right.
I'm gonna put him in some comp games, and
Okay.
get some L's. It's fine.
Hey, you got to teach him somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys just saw the stream. I just saw what Jason put up on screen, and that's pretty accurate.
Can I see this?
You can see the VOD. It'll be okay.
God.
No, that sounds fun. Yeah, we've got I was excited to hear when you said you guys went up and actually found some members there, we kind of have the same thing going on at our site. We've got a small group of people that might be able to turn into a B team in the future. So.
Oh, that immediately ended,
Oh
unfortunately.
yeah.
We played one game with them. They were like most kids, entitled and thought that they were always going to win.
Yeah.
They left immediately after. They told us they'd be back next week. We haven't seen them. So, yeah, that was
Nice.
very much like our scene.
Yeah, I'm glad that hasn't happened to ours yet. They've somehow put up with David for all this time now.
And Don was there, and we were all being super nice and not beating on him, and it didn't matter.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who else we got? Who haven't we talked about here yet? Luke, I know you were talking about High Rollers, saying they're a little bit new. I don't know. I recognize a couple of the names, but I can't put names to faces.
Yeah.
So
Talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, Renegade was with us in Nationals, or no, in Philly Invites. He played with Unleashed, which was just last Nationals, and that was his first tournament ever. And they picked up another player from, I think, Cali. I don't know his name, but he also has played in some other tournaments before. I can't remember his name though. Don would know the roster.
Nawala, yeah.
Yeah, the guy.
Nawala.
He's actually pretty good.
Yeah, so they have him. So those are the two players that have played tournaments. Now everyone else on the team is just a, regular player, all you can play, access nights and leagues. They've never played a tournament before, except for Toledo just recently, which was honestly more of a practice for Nationals. Let's be honest. It was only 4 teams. Everyone had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Good learning experience for all of them. And I actually played with all of pretty much the High Rollers roster, except for Nawala. I captained the team. I pretty much showed them what they need to be doing and how to communicate and work together as a team. So I'm really hoping to see that they have some good games. I know that they're going to be an undermined team as far as skill level and knowledge and experience. So I'm hoping they are kind of a wild card though as well, so that maybe night 1 they won't do so well. Night 2 maybe they'll get a little better, and by night 3 hopefully they'll be able to climb up ascensions a little bit.
Yeah. I think that'll be helpful for a lot of the newer teams that were running all the side events at the start, so they can kind of work out some of the kinks, and by the time we get to comp, hopefully get it together a little bit.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I have high hopes for a lot of the players as individuals too. So especially with a lot of them being brand new to the scene, and I'm hoping that they continue to, that we just continue growing as a community, and it's great to see a brand new team coming to a national event. So because a lot of the players have just, they've been around, but they stopped playing, and they just all of a sudden started coming to our league nights in Fort Wayne and access nights, and they got more involved, and now they're coming to
Nice.
Philly to compete. So
Nice. That's awesome. Good deal. Okay, so let's see. Who else haven't we talked about yet? Sorry, I'm just looking through the list. It would have probably helped to have them in order.
Yeah, you kind of went out of order on that.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? It's much like our team strategies. They start off with a plan, and then it,
we did
kind of goes
1
away.
and 2.
Yep.
We skipped by them and did the last 3. We didn't do BSO yet.
Okay. Let's talk about BSO then.
They added JP Strider from Boston. They added Metallica Man, who I don't think played with them at Baltimore. I'm not sure. And then they added Legs, who I honestly have no idea who that is.
Legs is a local player to Fort Wayne that's played with BSO locally, usually due to probation. So this will be his first time ever being able to leave the county. Props to him.
You sure he's not from Sterling with that kind of record?
I'm happy for him.
So do we stop talking about BSO at that point, or do we keep going?
Yeah, we don't want to We don't want to get
They were-
Jason's Twitch account banned. We
No.
Okay, so you look at their team, and they got Juggalo and Striker and
Yep.
CK and all them, and obviously CK can still throw down. He can dogfight. The
aren't
other
like
guys-
3 of them obnoxiously tall, if I'm remembering correctly.
CK's massive,
Yeah,
He's
he's
taller
tall.
so but the other guys, they can definitely hold their own.
Yeah.
They usually contend.
A lot
for,
of them have girth.
Yeah, well, they usually contend for like the fourth, fifth kind of area during invites. Their previous experiences, maybe with some of the newer players, they'll be able to a little bit, maybe contend a little more for like the 3-4 area. But we'll just have to wait and see with that, especially with them having newer guys.
Yeah.
I will say that with them having, who is it? You said CK. They have Striker. Oh, Rob. I wanted to point out that Rob did have back surgery right before Toledo.
Which one's Rob?
Juggalo.
Okay.
So Juggalo had back surgery, and he was a very good player back on Infusion, back on V4s and stuff like that. And when Helios kind of came out, his health kind of started to decline and stuff. And since he's had his back surgery and everything, I've noticed that he has actually been contending as far as for first place whenever I'm in town. He has been pulling a lot of top 3 on the scoreboard during like comp games, and he's been proving to do much better now in comp games. So
Nice.
you'll probably see he'll be playing a lot better there than in past tournaments too. So
Cool. So his health is directly proportional to how awful the current laser is. Got it. Yeah, no, I feel like I played against him at 1 or 2 of the Battle of Forts and always remember good things from him.
Yeah,
Let's
especially
see.
being home site. So they were always really good on their home site. Don knows from firsthand.
Yep.
All right, I feel like we've gotten most. I guess we technically didn't really fully talk about my team yet. So I guess let's go there next. I'm curious to see how this tournament goes. I feel like on paper, the people make sense together, especially, I'll be honest with you, I'm super happy to have 2 lefties on my team. I can't tell you when the last time that happened was.
I'm not
But-
happy about that.
You don't have enough long necks, though.
Huh?
You don't have enough. You
We got long enough necks, okay?
don't have
It's
long.
it's all right. They're not going to be inside the bases, the short necks. For those of you guys who don't know, Chris and I have a theory about base defenders and what makes a good defender. It's the length of the neck that makes a good base defender. The longer the neck, the better the base defender. Like, think about Ross for a second. When's the last time you saw the lower half of Ross's neck while he was looking out around a corner? Like, I've never seen it. It's like a snake sneaking around. So
I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this on practice tomorrow.
I'm telling you, it's a thing.
I'll give you some real world observations.
It's the neck. I see you in chat, Todd. You got a long neck too. It is what it is. No, I'm excited to see how this tournament goes. I think the personalities are gonna fit well together. For the most part, Karan's used to being yelled at from people, so he'll fit in right well with us. But
So how do you feel about your team as a top tier contending team? Are you confident in you guys?
I like to think so, but the last time I was super confident, we had to play 22 games to get back into finals. So, we're gonna get our money's worth. We always do. To be serious, I think we'll probably be competing to be there if everything comes together. It's more of an issue of, do the play styles click? Does the communication click? I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't have some ideas that I'm not going to say on here that I want to try out that more than likely will crash and burn. So it'll be like the normal tournament. I'll be like, hey, here's some great strategies that let's try, and oh shit, we're tired for last. All right, I guess we need to figure this out now. So So I mean, it happens every year. No, I'm excited for it. It's nice to actually be out at a tournament again because it's been 2 or 3 years, I think, since we've been there.
You won't ever have to worry. I mean, this tournament, we're not doing elim, so no 2-2-2 call outs or anything.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, man. That we can chalk that one up to me.
Shanky
So-
love that number, huh? Shanky?
Oh yeah, I realized it after I said it. I was like, oh shit, that was not good. It's
Oh,
okay.
man.
I'm just gonna call it anyways from now on. Whatever anyone asks me, I'm just always gonna say 2-2-2, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully, no one's as oblivious as me when they say "Go help Ark."
yeah, that
Go
was
to Ark.
confusing, especially when
I
I'm
have
not
no
where you.
idea.
I'm like, I don't need help. What are you talking about?
I thought he was talking about an Ark in the arena. I didn't even know he was talking about you as an Archangel.
Yeah,
I was lost.
yeah, that weird like Lambda thing over by Blue Base, we ended up calling Arc, and it didn't. I was not there, and I think Todd yelled, "Go help Arc," and I'm standing. I'm like, is he talking about me or the spot? I don't know what's going on.
You were
So
lost.
yeah, that was fun. Yes, Adam, I am a math teacher. I'm not a counting teacher, and I'm not a talking teacher. I think we hit everybody except for
The Philly
target practice.
Is that Philly C?
We didn't actually go over the Philly teams. We kind of glossed over them and talked with others.
Okay. Well, let's
say,
hit there and then work our way
We
through.
didn't even really address that Pete's back.
Yeah,
Well, let's start
6'4" elephant in the room.
Let's start with target practice and work our way from there.
Okay.
I guess I can speak to it because obviously I know them a little better than you guys. They're a little different this year. We had a player come back who hasn't played in a couple of years. We have a new player and Hat Guy on the team. Infamous is the player that came back.
Mm-hmm.
They have a different leadership this year, so I don't know how well that's going to work out. They did manage to do well. I believe it was last invites they did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I think they ended. If I can pull up the sheet.
I'll pull it up on my other monitor.
Yeah, they were under Cool Running and they took 4th place last year. So that was in team comp. They didn't do as well in elim. And as for base game, I think they were kind of towards the bottom. Yeah. So I mean, it's if you look at comp, especially with it being a home site team, I think they'll definitely be able to compete to some extent in the middle pack. But outside of that, we don't know what they might do. They do have Cam Staff on that team, and that guy managed to consistently score like 14,000, 15,000. So I don't know. I'm hoping that they do well again this year, especially in comp. But we have to wait and see. I don't know if Luke or Chris remembers anything about dealing with them last year.
I do
They're a
not.
kind of wild card team, and they did pretty well. They actually did better than I expected. So that I will say, I give that to them. You can't underestimate any Philly team. Honestly, you can't, because that's home site, and whether you know the players or not, you got to give them credit for it being their home site. And you can't underestimate any of them.
Yeah, there's no understate or overstating, I should say, home site advantage, especially Philly. I mean, to this time, RSD has been coming every year. Enterprise has been coming every year, and there's always that little edge you get no matter what.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Definitely.
Go ahead and move on to business as usual.
Yeah.
I have nothing but high praise for this team anymore, honestly. They were really going through a rough spot for a couple of years. It looks like they finally have like a solidified roster. They have the same players. About half the team is still the same players as back on Invite 7 when they trophied. They added Hot Trigger, who's a really good offensive player. He's great at calling. They got Kamikaze and Penguin, who are both excellent defensive players. And it's looking like Kamikaze is going to end up, really pushing that team up to another level. So I don't know. I have a feeling that they're going to be another team that we can throw into that area of where they might be competing, getting into final. Like I said, Luke and Chris, if they want to comment on anything with that.
I agree with you. I mean, fully they've been doing better and better as everyone has noticed. Every year they've been doing better, and especially last year was when I really noticed how well they worked together as a team. And I honestly thought they were going to give you guys a run for your money. Um, they had some. I know they beat you in some games.
Yeah, like 3 games back to back. It was
Yeah.
rough.
Wow.
I know, and
Damn.
I was like, damn. So they've proven themselves, and once again, I feel like they are going to be a contending team this year. So that's why I say that there's so many this year that are going to be top tier contenders. So
I'm looking forward to the circular ties.
I'm not. Let's stop talking about it. And then I guess my team, but I'm not going to sit here and stroke my ego.
Just don't stroke anything else. We're on Twitch. We'll get banned for that. No, I think the biggest question probably everyone has is Pete.
Yeah.
How's that been going?
I mean, he's played some practice games with us. He's played the last league season. He's getting back into form. It's just getting used to the packs.
Yeah.
And our team's structured a little differently from when he last played with us, so trying to figure out where everything fits.
Mm-hmm.
And by fits, do you mean like leadership or? No.
Yeah. I mean,
beanies.
no, like so. I feel so when we lost through the iterations of what Dead Reckoning is. We've lost Pete, we've lost Karan, Berserk, a bunch of other people. What it's really come down to is Shane really took over the team static, and he gets help from Justin, Fury, and myself. So with Pete coming back, it could add another layer of leadership. Or really, we could just let him play and be himself. I think he plays the best when he doesn't have to worry about that.
I think you would too.
I'd agree with that from the couple of tournaments I've played with him.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
from what I remember years ago, he seemed to be more hot-headed when having to control people,
right.
rather than just trusting in his team to be under control from the captain or something.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it pans out a little better. We just let him play. I mean, it's also his first big tournament, his first tournament period, really. He played a night of Elim in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So, but like it's his first full tournament back, so it's probably.
I think you kind of cut out at the end there, Don.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
I said it's his first full tournament back, so it's probably better to just let him play.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Let him get comfortable and see how he fits back in with the team.
Yeah, makes sense.
So,
is there any other new roster additions to you guys? All the names on yours look familiar.
No, we
I think
I think it's the same team you played the last time you were there, honestly.
Yeah.
There's
just too many people named Big Boss and Trigger this tournament.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't have Mad Dog. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we all know that you guys. I was just saying, we all know that you guys are gonna, be. If I had to put money on it, you guys are gonna be in finals. That's a guarantee. In my opinion.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping.
There's other teams. Yeah, I'm just saying. There's other teams there that like I've already expressed my opinion. I feel as if this team or this team or this team can make it into finals. They're gonna be contenders. But I've always every year felt that Dead Rec will always be in finals. We're always gonna play them. It's their home site. So I'm really looking forward to playing you in finals.
Adam said something interested in the chat. He said it's the first tournament they've both played and not been on the same team.
Is that him and Pete?
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
He's essentially going to go, hey, Pete, take the base, and Pete's going to forget that Adam's not on the team anymore. So,
all right.
I think that covers comp.
I think that hits everybody, yeah.
Do we want to go to base game and trips?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about base game. Let's start off with the format changes. Don't give him ideas, Chris. Don't give him ideas. He'll actually do it.
Yeah.
So we just talking format in general, or what we changed?
Yeah, because we're switching from a like a prelim and ascension style to more of think like NCAA tournament bracket style, right?
Yeah. So we had a conversation in the captain's chat, about 4 of us, and
Good talk. Good talk.
And we were talking about it, just trying to see what would really be beneficial for the event as a whole. Because for me, when I approach events, me personally, I want to try and make sure the spirit, for lack of a better term, is followed through. So for base game, we really wanted to make sure that once it was explained to me, because I watched and didn't understand what you were saying.
Yeah, that was. I didn't realize that as we're talking. I was like, wait a second. There's something missing here.
Yeah, this isn't the hockey playoffs. You need a better explanation.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with more of a skill based to seed everybody that was competing. We had Chris do it because we trust Chris to be as unbiased as humanly possible.
If you don't like your ranking, yell at him.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Oh,
not direct towards me.
So does everybody still have a fair chance at final,
Well, so I mean, realistically,
or is it you're doing a finals based on, your ranking?
So what's going to happen is we're just going to do a traditional round by round elimination.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you're kind of seated with your skill level.
Yeah, like a seeded bracket.
Is there
gotcha.
any way we can get Jason I don't know. I don't think Dan has it posted yet, honestly. I'm gonna post it to the Discord if I can figure out a way to get it there of the seating, because the grids are gonna be up anyway, so it's really irrelevant.
Yeah. Let me. I can pull up the ranking and send it to Jason real quick.
Okay, we can just pull that up and throw it on the stream.
Yep. Give me. You keep talking. I will get that and send it over to him.
Okay. Dan said it's on the Google Doc, so it must be up now.
For the grids.
Yeah, Todd just posted the link.
Okay.
So
yeah. So for anybody in chat, you can go there and click on base game, and it's from first seed down to 16th seed.
Right.
So basically, yeah.
And I'll send it to Jason Elias real quick too.
What we originally were going for, we had to change up how we were running base game because we wanted to add triples into the tournament. No, see,
so
it's
you're
not.
doing single elimination, not double elimination. So you're not giving anybody a second chance.
Well, no. So what happens is we play through the first round. It's not in here anymore. See, we're already having technical difficulties. I need the original.
Also, for any typos that are on there, that's also Chris's fault.
Not type anything.
David's hitting me up on Discord going tashed on.
Somebody wrote tashed on and I left. I was like, that must be some new guy. It lowered your ranking, so that's your fault.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up in the captain's chat.
Jason just put it on Discord too, or not on Discord, on stream, so people on stream can see the rankings. So from what I can see, we start off. We're gonna have 8 games in the initial round, and then that looks like it's. If I'm understanding this correctly, we do have a losers bracket.
Yeah, so
that's good to
essentially,
hear.
either way, there's mobility up and down through the bracket if necessary. The whole point was that if you randomize the grid, you're going to have matchups that are going to eliminate skilled teams early, taking kind of the competition out of the whole event as a whole. So what we're doing is we're just seeding it and then allowing the tournament or the event to kind of filter everyone where they should be. Kind of the best way of putting it.
I agree.
It would be helpful if I could actually. Okay, yeah, there it is. We just don't have the actual grid seated yet, is what it was.
Okay, That's what I was really upset about. I'm like, what? This isn't right.
Right. The actual grid itself isn't seeded yet.
Okay.
That's what's up on the stream now is the actual rankings.
Yeah.
So what we're operating off of that is however the bracket style works because I know it. So I'll just let Jason explain that a bit.
So the way that'll work, think of like NCAA tournaments where the 1 seed plays the 16 seed, the 2 seed plays the 15 seed, so on and so on. But within that, they'll also, when you have everyone who lose, they'll drop down to a lower bracket. So you actually have to lose twice before you're fully eliminated. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you, Don. This is actually, I'm just going to post in the Discord chat so Jason can see it too. But this is a good example of what it looks like when you have it out as a bracket. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to do the full thing. I guess we'd have to talk with Pete about that.
Yeah.
But this is what it would look like what I just messaged you on Facebook. And I think Jason should be able to bring that up. This is not 100% what we're doing, but this is what your typical double Elam bracket looks like for the stream and for the podcast.
So all we really have to do is look and see if we can match up the brackets and how many games we can actually afford to do.
Right.
And that'll get done over the next couple days.
Yeah. And either way, it'll still be considerably less time. I'll post it in the chat too. But it'll still be considerably less time than we would have had with a prelim and an Ascensions round.
Right.
Because I think I did the math for that. That would have been like 35 games or something like this. With running 2 teams at a time. Whereas this one, I think, would be 30 or 31 total games, but we can run multiple games at a time while we're doing this, so it actually cuts it in half for the most part. So I think we're looking at max 15 or 16 games for the whole double elimination bracket.
Right. So looking at the rest of the event as a whole, last year what we did was we based it by team instead of allowing people to form teams. So whatever team you were registered to comp with, you were playing with, and you would just have to rotate people in and out as alts. With this way, we also play. We only play 2 of our 3 bases because the one base is it's not unplayable, but it's not as balanced for base game.
Right.
So we only use blue and yellow. But that allows us to run 2 games at the same time, which does in fact cut down our game time, and it allows us to run. There we go. So I guess just settings for the event. The only thing we really do differently is we have reloads on. It's obviously infinite bases, and I think that's really it.
Yeah. How long are the games?
6 minutes, I believe.
That sounds right. I think that's what we were talking about at one point. Yeah, because if those get super long, you don't want to have like 50 bases.
Well, not even that. Do you really want to play like 10-minute base games?
No, I don't.
I'd rather play like a 20-minute Elam game than a 10-minute base game.
I'm just gonna sit both of them. It's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, so,
Yes, Adam, that's correct. 48-second games. I'm down. You have an opportunity to get 4 bases at most.
So
may the best team win.
I don't think we really have the need or the time to really go over the teams for base game. I have a feeling that there's going to be more of an upset when it comes to that. I don't.
Yeah.
Think that I think you're going to see a lot of the other teams that you wouldn't expect during comp to get as high in the ladder. I think you have a good chance of seeing them making it in base game and get up there in the competition.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the dark horses we think have a chance to upset and make a make a deep run in this.
Okay. Let's see who we got.
Pretty much anybody from like 5 to 11.
Pretty much, yeah. Honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, all we really do for our practices, especially since we've had low turnouts, is we play a ton of base game here.
Yep.
So realistically, any of the Philly teams I think could really compete. How far they can go is obviously a question. But even our C team, Target Practice, they all know how to play base game. They're at it. Um, so yeah, thankfully I think if there's one thing that base game really does, it helps really illustrate the offensive and defensive aspects of comp.
Yeah.
I think you'll notice too from Fort Wayne, it's a heavily played game in Fort Wayne as well. So any player coming out of there is also familiar with the game, just not those bases. So they're more accustomed to tighter knit bases. If you've ever been to Fort Wayne, you would know. So that'll be the only difference. But as far as the gameplay goes, they're all accustomed to it too. So
I just realized that Daniel's playing with you, Jason, for base game. I don't appreciate that in the slightest.
I'll see you later, bro. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That's a triples team I've wanted to play with for a very long time, and I'm gonna enjoy that.
Chris, you got anything on base game?
On base game, I still hate reloads.
I mean, I'm with him
reloads
there.
are on?
I'm with him
Whoa,
there.
What?
Yes.
It's
See, I'm against it so much that I didn't even know.
the argument for reloads has always been more to the fact of when you have a higher skill and lower skill team competing, it kind of breaks up the flow of the game, kind of gives more of an even playing field, even though it's not really a natural way of doing it. But that's always been a conversation. There's for and against it on both sides.
So are the shot rate, the shot count at least lowered too then?
No.
So you still have
Lower.
45 shots in a 6-minute game?
Actually, I could be wrong. I don't remember. Once we set the format, I haven't touched it. So honestly,
okay.
I would have to go in, or I'd have to have Dan double check. If he's still in Twitch, he might be able to comment.
I'm just laughing at Todd talking about how he doesn't like leaving the base in chat.
You need
Todd-
base back.
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember one
Why don't you
tournament,
just have
even
base
with ticks,
retail on?
Todd just stayed in. That was the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, you win. You can just take the tick. It's just you didn't have a
Right.
rule against how many ticks
Right.
you can get. So why
Right.
not just take the tick and get the base every time?
I was mostly upset I didn't think of it first, if I'm being honest with you.
No, I think the argument being that you can base, but it's still once you're in, you're in. It's going to be hard to get somebody out once they're really entrenched, and if there's
Right.
no.
Well,
Yeah.
the way you get them
Right.
out is
Cool
base
with that.
retail.
I'm
the
cool
base
with
shoots back.
base evac. I just don't like. I think it slows stuff. The whole point of the game is to be as fast as possible, and we're slowing it down by using reloads. And it's a tournament, so I don't see the need to pander to the lower teams. To be honest.
Right. No, and to an extent, I agree. But being a talent coordinator, I kind of have to pander to everybody.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, and
So
I
this is
guess-
a captain's chat conversation. Is really
Right.
what it comes down.
yeah. I don't think we're going to have a lot of things to talk about before the first night anyways, so
Yeah.
that, Luke and Chris can argue about it for a while. Or I guess Todd
I'm
and
not arguing. I was just
Todd and Chris.
simply stating my
Oh, yeah.
opinion.
I guess I don't care enough. I didn't want to play it, and then I was told that we like it, my whole team. So that's fine.
I still remember that.
That pretty much describes most of any tournament I've ever played with you. This is terrible. Rest of team. Hey, Chris, let's do this. All right. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm used to that too.
I guess that covers base game. I mean, we can go over the
Yeah.
trips. I don't think there's much to talk about with triples. I really feel for me, I'm not a huge fan of triples. Honestly, I'm really just stuck with combat base game.
Are we doing it with bases on like we've done in years past, or is it just pure pack points?
As far as I know, it's bases, but again, I imagine this is going to come down to a captain call.
Bases, and I will set your arena on fire if you try to change it.
Thank
Just
you,
set
Chris.
just
Thank
set
you,
the
Chris.
upstairs on fire. Just leave the downstairs good for comp.
It's not my arena, so if you
Yeah.
want to have that conversation, be my guest.
Is upstairs on for trips?
No.
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 I'm just making that decision now. No. Aren't you playing with Adam? No. No. No.
Double.
Oh, Adam, you got all your bases? Cool. I'll see. I won't see you the rest of the game. You'll be upstairs.
I think it's funny you think he came downstairs before he got bases.
All right. Well, let's see what we got.
That pretty much hits that. I guess the only other event we have to talk about with is LOR, and I know you were saying some of the timing was a little bit different. In the outline I have there, I listed all the people who are playing LOR. It looks like it's going to be a pretty solid event.
Yeah. So
I'm going to bring back the dollar bets since I'm not playing.
You're
we,
not. playing.
No, I'm not playing.
Oh man.
So we didn't have an actual lore format when we first got these packs.
Right.
So we essentially just messed with the scores so that we could track DX and all that, and just made an adjusted comp format. The problem with that is that 3 stuns didn't count as a DX on the score.
Reasonable.
So that was a big issue that we really didn't have a workaround. So this year we actually have the format. The problem is the timing for the lore format is not the same timing as we use for comp. And I'm not great with remembering numbers, so if I'm wrong, someone check. We play 7-3 for comp, and I don't think it's the actual timing. I think it's the wake up and how the wake up works for the lore format. Dan would be more knowledgeable on it because he's been messing with it. But I think the issue that most people have with lore on these packs is really just Helios. Go back to the double DX and stuns for days.
Yeah.
So
I do like how you fixed 3 stuns counted as a deact just as Pete comes back to competitive play. I'm not, tinfoil hat in here, but
he played lore last year. To be fair.
Okay, fair.
I mean, if we could, I would totally be down of having lores again.
So are you doing Worlds timing for LOR or what?
Whatever the format is set to. Again, Dan's better to speak on it than I am.
I'm just saying because if you guys need it, I could just change it to that when I arrive. I can change it to whatever the timing needs to be appropriate.
Then you and I can talk after this, and we'll talk to Dan about it.
Okay. I mean, I feel like Dan may be more susceptible to allowing me to do stuff now that I actually do work full time with Zone. So
probably. But yeah, if we look over and see who's playing lore, I mean, I can only really speak to Philly players that are actually playing lore. You don't see a lot of the players that you used to see. Like, I think Kron is actually playing now. I think we had to up the amount of people we had. Obviously, I'm not playing this year. I know Shane is. No one else from Philly A is playing. Usually, we'd have like 3 or 4. Philly B, I know that Kamikaze's playing. I thought that Penguin would be playing, but I guess he's not. He's
on there. He's on there in the middle, yeah.
Oh, there he is. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right above Rue.
And then we have a couple of people from Philly C playing too. So obviously, with it being our packs and what we're used to playing, they're going to be able to compete. And again, we're just going to come back to the same conversation of how far do they really think they're going to get. I think you could see Kamikaze making it up there, maybe making it to semis, depending on how well he plays, how consistent he is. But outside of that, you have the usual players. I mean, Todd's going to be up there. Chris and Luke are obviously going to be up there. Pete's playing well. He can make a run for it.
You guys are
All
forgetting.
I'm saying to Chris is I swear to God, if another European player beats us,
it's just we have to cheat now. That's it. We have to cheat against these Nordics. I'm done with it.
And yeah, that's the other thing.
Oh man.
You have Moomin and you have Xylitol. Who
More DMs. You don't have enough.
Which both Newman and Xylitol beat Chris and I.
I'll be standing by the sidelines cheering them on. Just saying.
I guess that kind of segues into a good thing because I know for some of my players, or I can at least pretend we haven't had this conversation, but a lot of players probably aren't fully aware of the laser and handhold rules. What is allowed, what's not allowed.
Well, so Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say it depends on the year.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking.
So this is the third invites I've run. I kind of took over from Karan, and Karan took over from Pete. So I was kind of winging everything when I first took over. Just kind of muddling through things with some help from obviously Chris and Daniel. So what we've really come down to is if you look at the laser, the only thing you really can't touch is the top of your plastics.
Okay.
You can hold the orange Gundam. You can hold it like this to where this is laser and it's touching. I have yet to see a single issue with that actually. The only thing that we have handhold wise really is that the laser can't be upside down as a natural handhold
Okay.
and can't be facing in.
So kind of like the weird Australian handhold or whatever, where they hold it upside down,
Yeah.
sort of. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hold it upside down to cover it. And
Okay.
they say they don't, but they do.
So the reason that we
We're gonna lose all 3 of our Australian viewers, Luke. Calm down with that. Come on now.
No, I'm just hey, I was just there, and I'm sorry I couldn't shoot any of their phasers because they were always upside down and tucked in.
So for me, and I'm only going to speak for myself and why I guess came to the decision on this rule is that especially with our bases, if I can keep the laser pointing in towards me and just shoot out from my point on the wall, you're never going to be able to see a sensor. You know what I mean?
In my opinion, it's kind of like putting your pack on in reverse. You know, like inside out.
Yeah.
Like you're just covering the
That's a
sensor
good analogy for it.
because it's facing the opposite way. It's never exposed. Like your shoulders and everything, they're always exposed. People can shoot them when they see them. But
Right.
if you're always covering by holding upside down, they're never going to be able to see it. You know.
So I'm just reading the comments.
You're fine.
It's all right. It's gonna get better.
But yeah, so essentially just what it comes down to is we're trying to make it so that realistically the only way you can ever have any effective covering is to actually be behind a wall or something. You know?
Right.
Everything else should be dependent on your body positioning and how you're deciding which playing against someone else. So that's really what led to the handholds that we decided on. And obviously, I don't think I've said it, which of course my fault, but Karan has been a huge help with this with our rules, and we've been recording a lot and watching different around that.
We lost you for a second.
Where'd you lose me?
Been
Something about
helping out.
Quran.
Okay, so Karan has been a huge help the past months with recording and watching how people play and learning what we can really crack down on handhold wise and what we just kind of have to live with because it's the human body and there's only so much you can ask of someone. A lot of that's going to be talked about in the captain's meeting, but that because of those conversations, it also led us to how we decided the handhold.
Yeah. So can I ask real quick on a kind of transition a little bit to, you know, you guys always do your captain's meeting and then the captains are always responsible for relaying information to the players. And I get that. That's reasonable. But I think as a tournament coordinator, maybe we should start looking as if we're having player GMs in the game, maybe we should address some of these issues of what to look for and explain in better detail rather than just the captain saying, you know, you're going to GM this game, you know.
Yeah, so Karan and I have been talking about that. I mean, realistically, what it comes down to is when it comes to communication with Zoe, obviously, I could or Karan could put out all this information. We could put out a whole book. We could put out videos. That doesn't mean anyone's going to watch it and anyone's going to read it. And that's just the nature of the beast. So we kind of have relied on captains to make sure those points get across. I think we have a couple ideas this year on what we're going to do to not alleviate that, because obviously captains still need to be responsible, but to give to let us give better information to the players themselves, so that they're more capable of handling the duties of game master. I mean, realistically, we barely see any ticks anymore, and we all know that people, whether intentional or not, are breaking the rules. It's at the end of the day, I'm torn on this because I'm all for broke will get a tick. But at the end of the day, we all have to kind of agree that this is a hobby, and I've blown up about dumb stuff like that before, but we have to find a way to make it work so that the community has access to. understanding the rules.
Yep.
I think a perfect example of this though would be, for instance, if I had someone do me dirty like with an arm during an Elam game or something, and I addressed it with that person, and they just got shitty with me, I
Right.
feel like that's not okay. Now Shanklin would be the perfect example for this because I called him out for it in Philly maybe a year or two ago. After the game, he came out and he's like, "Did I really arm you?" And I said, "Yeah, man. Like it might not have been intentional." He's like, "Honestly, I didn't mean to," and he apologized. Like that was great. That was some of the
Right.
best sportsmanship ever because I called him out for something he didn't intend on doing, and it wasn't like I did it in a mean way, but like because some people will say "f you" and all that, but we don't need that. You know, it's just
Right. So this
you know.
this kind of transitions to something we could talk about now. Honestly, is that we know that's going to happen. Everyone handles confrontation differently. And, again,
Yeah.
I'll put myself out. I haven't exactly been the best when dealing with certain things.
Yeah,
I've
you
tried to
did.
do better since I'm 24 here now.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, I gotta admit the fault where
I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm
so what it really comes down to is
not
that
trying to get banned.
we know we have leaders in this city. We need those leaders to step up and help out in managing those things. You know, if
Yes.
I know Todd told me, I think it was last year, about there's like in Australia where it's like you got to wait a game anything with anyone. I think that's a beneficial thing that Karan and I have talked about implementing.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, give everyone time to calm down. There's also all the stuff with like, you know, there's plenty of people who've been playing long enough who are more than capable of calming down their teammates.
Yeah.
We don't really have blow-ups, like anything that I'm really concerned about.
Last Philly.
It's not like I went off and tried to kill anyone, so I wouldn't count that as being a horrible thing.
Improvement is
Okay.
there.
So just my whole point is just the simple fact, you know, we have enough leaders in this community to where if someone walks out of a game and they say something to someone and that person isn't responding, then it's just as much on their team to go, hey, calm down, just listen to what he has to say. What, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're such a small community that we can't afford to be like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of what Karan kind of said a little bit in one of his most previous posts, and I agreed a lot with what he said. I don't know the full context of everything, but taking it from an outsider's perspective, what he did say made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to find that balance, is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, because it can't just be the person approaching the topic. It also has to be the person being the conversation. They have to be just as capable of receiving that feedback, even if they don't like it. And the whole thing is that at the same time, if things get out of hand, we have to start enforcing some, not punishment, because maybe that's a little too hard to say, but maybe enforcing some kind of levy against them. Like if you blow up because someone came out to you and was real nice to you and explained that like you did something wrong and you just out, then maybe you got to sit a game. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to kind of force that culture change. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm
Yeah,
a
we've
big
never done any type of penalty to where, yeah, you get a tick, you lose 2,000 or 1,000 points, but maybe if you did do something where you know somebody does cheat in a way that's not sportsmanlike per se, where they have to actually sit out or something
Right.
and they can't participate
Right. And
for a
so
game or two.
Karan and I have tried to talk about, well, not tried to, we have talked about this.
Yeah.
We're trying to come up with some ideas, and we'll talk about it in the captain's meeting when invites comes around, and see what we can do.
It's here, brother. A few days, I'll see you.
Yeah. So you know, it's trying to get everything figured out. Like we talked about before, we want this community to kind of start growing again, and stuff like this
Absolutely.
needs to be addressed before it really can. So I think we hit all the highlights there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit on all the
Well,
events, hit on all the teams.
We hit on some rulings and
Yeah. Do we wanna are we dumb enough to open this up to chat questions?
Yeah, I was about to say, do we really want to?
Like I see David, Todd, Adam, and Shane in there. None of that can be good.
We can try. We can try.
Hey, you guys got anything you want to talk about? Any questions you want? We're all about the community here. And what is it? ZLTUSC? What is the acronym? I don't know.
ZLTUSC.
Q.
Yeah.
There's a Q in there, I guess.
Chris, you realize if David ever comps you, he's gonna yell Tashdon at you?
I didn't write it. Never wrote the Get David in on this. We need trash.
You want me to invite him to the call? I can't. It's gonna mess all of our things up real quick.
No, we'll be.
David,
Yeah,
you want to in?
He's
Jason
like, don't,
just,
I'll kill you.
heart-struck that.
He's in. All right. We'll Oh, Todd actually has a question. So this is following up on the upside down phaser conversation. Why ban upside down phaser if it can still be shot tall or short? It can't be hit when you smash it on your stomach. Phaser has side sensors of the plastic, not on top. V4 phasers upside down / Nexus phasers upside down.
All right, so with that, there's a couple points that we're gonna have to hit there. First and foremost, the natural is from not playing higher, playing. And because of that, when the phaser is facing in, it's an automatic disadvantage because the moment you reach out to shoot, your is actually in the way of hitting the laser. Now, obviously, there are circumstances where that changes, but more not, and that's what we're kind of having to go with is more often.
Yeah, it's a big gray area.
Right. If I'm inside a base and I can have the laser, okay, you guys have seen me playing red, who haven't actually been to Philly or anything. It's just a short wall and then a short hallway to get in the base. If I can have my back vesting side of red and have my phaser facing in, I can literally just poke my gun out and I don't even have to expect anything to shoot when. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So while I understand that there's an argument against it, the most common situations are you not have. That's really what, especially. I mean, you could probably make conversations for our arena, definitely.
Okay. That sounds reasonable. And we can always talk about it a little bit more in the captain's meeting too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Todd's really the only one that's going to give us any hard questions.
Yeah.
Just controlling.
Chris, you lucked out. David can't join right now.
That's unfortunate.
You lucked out. Oh man. Anybody else got any questions?
No. It's still. Can we play Elam with no stuns? Is that an option? Can we do that? A little quick sec.
Where did we do that at? Was that Boston?
It counts. Boston, baby.
Boston doesn't count. None of Boston counts. Boston didn't happen. It's your imagination.
Yeah, ask Pete and my brother and his girlfriend about that when they almost got stabbed outside of the event. It definitely counts.
No, that was me, Shane, Ross, Daniel. Who else was out there?
Okay, then there were two potential stabbings because I remember them running in.
Too.
That's probably the more likely answer.
There was a hooker that came up to me too, and then got in the car with the guy next to me.
Gross.
There's no base retaliation. No.
So it's not base retaliation, but you still have to exit the base once it's down, correct?
It's
Like
base back.
Right, like the arena's not going to shoot you, but you still got to get the hell out.
So another thing that we can touch on is with game masters, and I know people are going to be up in arms about this conversation. I would like to see more communication from game masters, not during high intensity time. There's a lot of people trying to get bases, but absolutely, like especially during base game, a game master can yell bases up, stuff like that, or during comp if there's not a lot going on, they can go, hey, your arm's lagging, keep an eye on that, stuff like that. There needs to be there needs to be more communication, especially with what we're trying to do. The game masters actually talk to players during games so they can see what they're doing as well.
Right.
So I agree to that to some extent. Maybe during prelims, but not during finals. I don't agree with game
Right.
masters communicating with anybody. If they see it once, they don't say anything. If the player doesn't fix it themselves after the first time the game master saw it, the game master's discretion, they should call it. They should call a ticket on that person.
Right, and that's a conversation. That
Kind of like I remember perfectly. I was game mastering Team Elam one time up from upstairs, and Kat was had her hand on the top of the plastic on the Pro Phaser when you're not supposed to hold the top of the plastic. I waited until she fixed it, and then she reverted back to that handhold again, and then I said, Kat, that's a tick, and she said, what for? And I said, your handhold, watch it.
right.
So I didn't say anything to her. She fixed it herself, but then she reverted back, and then I ticked her for it. So
I don't know where I come down on this, because I can imagine if I'm in a base, right, and a game master tells me something, and I think most people's natural instinct is going to be to turn to look at the person who's talking to them, and I get pushed out of a base at the same time, I'm going to be real mad, and depending on who's the person talking and who's the person on the outside of the base, that magical C word might come back into play again, you know what I'm saying?
It's just
I can
So,
agree with that too.
there's an argument on both sides,
Oh.
and it's really something that we really have to have.
yes, Captain. Because if I get hit with the C word of collusion, Chris, somebody's getting hit with the dentist, okay?
Oh,
Oh, gee.
That's a joke for like 3 people in the zone community, and it's fantastic if you know what it is. But
This chat is just going south very quickly.
yeah, well, yep. Oh God. Oh Jesus, David.
get nasty.
Why is that picture up?
What, the one of David?
Yeah.
That's the best picture ever. Oh man. Oh.
All right. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I think that hits pretty much everything. If anybody has any questions in the chat, well, you guys suck because you didn't ask them in time.
yeah, I agree.
So yeah. How about that for community engagement?
Mm.
This is probably the most engaged the community's been in a long time.
That's true.
I think Jason actually has a question,
Yeah.
which is weird because he could just turn his mic on and ask.
He could, but yeah. Big shout out to Jason Elias, by the way, he's the one who's handling the pictures, the overlay, everything like that. He's doing a lot of the media related stuff for the tournament, with the streams, and I know he has a lot of help for that. I just don't know who. But we're definitely have more of a presence, and a lot of it is more available because a lot of the work everyone is putting in on the media side, and it's awesome. So with streaming being allowed, do we want to allow VODs for team to review openly like last year still? I say yes. I'm going to be honest. I think the bullshit we do in finals and in semifinals with not showing the scoreboard is a whole bunch of pussy shit. I don't know if you guys watched the NBA finals that happened a few days ago. In Game 5, they took.
There's 2 teams though.
Still.
That's the difference.
Still.
You could just that's why it's always been the way it's been, because it's 3-team event, and that's.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, especially if you're in finals, if you can't deal with 2 teams doing whatever they can to put themselves in the best spot, you didn't deserve to win. And I've been on the shit end of that stick a number of times.
Yeah,
I think-
so if
I
you
think
turn
the
the table
problem
though,
Go ahead.
what's the best way to do this? Now, if you go in game 1 and you lose on purpose, now people aren't going to target you. So that's Shanklin's whole theory on LOR. Don't win the first game, right, Shanklin?
No.
Oh, okay. Y'all targeted the shit out of me after I won that first
Give
game.
you a first.
So, and I guess my other point with it is you can still look at the scoreboard on the laser.
No, you can't. Not if you turn it off. It should be off.
I watched VODs from the last couple of tournaments, and I saw people in bases looking at the scoreboard.
Yeah, but again, at the end of the day, the scoreboard isn't always 100%, or even most of the time, caught up to the game. So even if you look at the scoreboard in the last 10 seconds, that doesn't mean you're actually in that spot. Though obviously, if you're in first place, there's an argument to be had about how likely it is you're. But realistically, the whole conversation really comes down to it's not the matter of people can collude or people can do this or people can do that. It's that realistically, you shouldn't have that information available because even though it's
Yeah.
3 separate games, it should be treated as one full game against 2 other teams for the win.
Yeah.
I agree with you about that. It's the only competitive environment, and yes, I'm aware we've got more teams than normal, but it's the only competitive environment I'm aware of that you can't see how you and your competitors are doing mid competition, and I don't like that.
We could sit here and make arguments both ways until the sun rises, and
Oh yeah,
they're all valid arguments. It's just considering the state of zone as it is and the precedent that's already been set. It's just, and again, I think realistically we ask every year, and the majority still says turn off the scores. So the
Right.
option's been there. It's essentially removing.
just as long as nobody has walkie talkies while the scores are going on.
Oh well, shit. There goes
Luke, sorry, sorry.
Talking to me.
What? Were you on that RSD team or was that before you?
That was
before
that was,
him.
Okay,
that was
okay,
fuzzy.
that's
That was
fair.
fuzzy.
That's fair. Okay, my bad. It's all right. Todd's still in the chat.
So hold on. Jason's actually bringing up a good point. In Baltimore, we kept everyone in the vesting room. Yeah, we kept everyone in the vesting room because of the fact that we were streaming finals. I don't think anyone's going to want to stay in our vesting room. At least the Baltimore one was longer, could spread out. So this is kind of stuff that we're going to have to talk about during the captain's meeting.
Well, that would only be for alts, right?
The easy solution there would be leave the packs at the bases and go to your next base.
Right. And I think again, this is a conversation that's going to have to be had. I don't want to make any decisions now. But with the streaming, especially with streaming, this kind of comes back to the same argument about the scoreboards is we're streaming stuff, which means way are willing to allow
Yeah.
at the cost of the competition.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's fine during semis and finals to stream still. I just think that the teams need to stay in the arena, and then their alts need to stay in the vesting room.
Right. And at the same time, when it comes to you said earlier about videos being posted up from previous days or previous games, I'm 100% for it. We have the information there.
Yeah.
I mean, if people want to go and watch tape, let them watch tape.
I'm gonna be. I'm telling you that now. David and Chris are bringing their fishing rods, and I don't have any to do then, so I might as well.
But
David will.
We have a lot of options when it comes to
Yeah.
that. So we'll definitely. I'll add that to the topics that we're gonna have captains. But I'm 100% for it.
Yeah, as long as there's a conversation to be had, I'm okay with it. I don't mind getting outvoted. I've been outvoted more than enough in my life. But
there is another option that we've done in Fort Wayne. It's after each game of semis and after each game of finals, we cut out the individual team's score on a scorecard and we hand that information to the team captain, and they share that with their players. Now you don't share that information with the other two teams, but it does help you.
We have been doing that, but the problem isn't that; it's that the score is being streamed. So the
That's
people
fine.
that are
Why
outside of the game or watching can just communicate that to people.
How are they going to do that if everyone has all their devices, left aside? They're in the arena. That's all that's allowed in the arena is them,
Right. We didn't say, are the players staying in the arena and then they just get the score?
Yeah, and then water and shit would be in the vesting room.
Yeah.
And a game master a game master would be responsible for bringing the team score to them. It would just be the tournament coordinator's responsibility to make sure whoever's cutting out the scores, hands the appropriate scores to the appropriate team.
Oh well, if you want to have that conversation with my guy, I will
With
not
who?
have that conversation. Heather.
With Heather? Well,
I know
hey,
Heather.
So we need to
As long as
talk
she
to
can
the
do it.
real tournament coordinator. Is what you're
I
saying.
can neither confirm nor deny this.
Excellent.
But yeah. So again, this is stuff that we can talk about. That
Yeah.
we can talk about during the captain's meeting.
Karan had a good idea in chat, and I think I kind of agree with it too. And again, like you're saying, it's something to vote on. Give that. Wait, no, that doesn't.
No,
I
I
don't
don't think
think that
place
at all.
will work any better.
I don't think that's.
I'd rather have total points and rank in the game.
I don't
Personally.
think. I think you should only get points. I don't think you.
Yeah,
should
only give them points. Don't give them the information of what rank they got. Because if they got first and
That's
they
fair.
know who the other team is that's weaker of the two, they're going to target the shit out of that team. Or they're going to target the shit out of the contending team that could possibly beat them out, you know?
That's
That's
fair.
the argument, you know? So it should just be points. That way you don't know what rank you have.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like if my team can be targeted, I deserve to be targeted, especially in the finals.
I feel like your team's just about playing the metagame. That's really what it is.
No, definitely not. That's not the case. You know, with the integrity and the spirit of the game, I think it's very important that I don't know where to go from that.
Yeah, that's a lot of mental gymnastics you're
Yeah.
putting up there.
Well, I have been on a team with Shade before, and I've been in enough captains meetings with John and Noel. I've learned from the best. Those were always fun.
Ooh, where are we? Yeah, I think we kind of hit that.
Yeah, we hit pretty much everything. Hit all the teams. Hit all the placings. So guys, what we will do, and I'll post on here. I know Jason can do the VOD on his Twitch channel here, but I'll see what we can do about maybe potentially getting it on YouTube, so it's kind of standalone.
Yeah.
So you can see it if you want, and we'll cut the pieces. I don't know. We'll maybe cut the last 15 minutes of nonsense if we really feel like it, but we'll see what it. But yeah, you guys got anything to say before we wrap this all up?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good, guys.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming out and watching. I think the highest I ever saw was like 23.
Oh,
So that's about 75% of the US zone community right there. You guys got to stop canceling events on David. He's clearly having issues about this. So, but yeah, we'll have the link up on YouTube. I will follow up and post it on the post I made in Zone Elite and in the invites chat. So, we will cut the VOD here. Thanks, guys, and see you in a couple of days.
See you guys.
Yeah, we'll see you
See
soon.
you guys.